Investment advisory services offered through Independent Solutions Wealth Management and Blackridge Asset Management, LLC. Peak Broker Services, LLC is not an affiliate of Independent Solutions or Financial Guys, LLC.
You're listening to The Financial Guys.
We're $23 trillion in debt, honey. We don't have an extra surplus of money.
Newsflash, guys, stop attacking businesses, because when all the businesses are gone, nobody's going to pay your salary anymore. You get that?
If the goal is to create a loser mentality, you're winning.
I'm going to build a big, beautiful wall with a big, beautiful door. Well, guess what? We have a big, beautiful door, all right. It's the wide open southern border, right?
Yeah.
Here's Glenn Wiggle and Mike Lomas.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Financial Guys podcast. Glenn Wiggle here with Mike Lomas, and, of course, we are the Financial Guys. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, we certainly appreciate it. For more information on all the stuff that we do, including our radio shows, which go across to Buffalo, Rochester, South Florida, you can go to our website, thefinancialguys.com, for all the information on our departments, social media links, and all the other good stuff there. So a lot to talk about today. We're going to probably maybe do 45 minutes today. Maybe we'll get to an hour. I know we got some time constraints, but we're off the radio for the next couple of weeks, which is a really nice break for us. We've been, with the COVID thing and everything else going on, we've been on pretty much every single Saturday for almost 3 straight months. Normally we do about 3-4 Saturdays, take a weekend off. Mm-hmm. A couple Saturdays, take a weekend off.
Maybe you'll take one, I'll take one, but
yeah,
usually don't get 2 weeks in a row.
Right, but we've gotten an opportunity to have a couple weeks in a row, and so we have a little more time to do some prep for the podcast, which is great. So I think we should probably start with this, because this is just too good to
Supplies
be.
needed?
It's just hilarious, right? So we got to talk. This is the Chaz, right? I don't know what Chaz stands for, but it's the Summer of Love, according to the Seattle mayor, right?
We talked about it
Saturday. It's a summer. The police officers are saying we got triple the amount of assaults, triple the amount of
They're spray painting and destroying
Summer of Love.
blocks
of love.
neighborhoods, and the mayor there, who's totally incompetent, this is great.
Yeah.
This is so peaceful.
It's
Everybody
a peaceful
loves
protest.
everybody.
I'll play a clip of the peaceful protest where I can't do it on the radio because they're screaming obscenities. But so they put up this sign. These are kids. These are children.
Yeah.
These are
primarily white children.
Primarily white children.
That probably grew up in a nice suburban house.
Oh, absolutely.
With a nice bedroom.
Yep.
And a refrigerator in their room full of pop.
Listen, if you parents, whether you're college professors, I don't know what you are, but if you see your kids on TV, could you go bring them home to the basement, please?
Yes.
Put them back in school.
Tell them dinner's ready.
Somebody needs to go to the Chaz zone with a whole handful of resumes or applications, job applications, start handing them out.
I said, it's funny, last week on the radio show.
Watch them scatter.
On the radio show, I said that's so funny. On the radio show, I said, here's how you get rid of them. It's not pepper spray. It's not tear gas.
No.
It's not rubber bullets. You fly over with resumes and threaten to send them to work and watch them scatter like mice. Oh my God, we even talked about coming up with a spoof like a commercial with all of us, get all of us involved. Like, hilarious. Oh my God, the resumes are coming. Oh my God, we're gonna have to go to work. Man. Run.
So these clowns, they take over 6 blocks of downtown Seattle. I mean, God forbid you have a business or a residence there, right? If I had a residence there, I would basically just walk away. I'm sorry.
No, we would be there with our guns. They wouldn't be in our residence.
Burn it down. I'll take the insurance. Go ahead. I'll put a MAGA sign out in front. Yeah. Burn my house down. I'll put cameras out, so we'll make sure we get your picture. Yeah. We'll upload it to the internet. We'll get you arrested. I'll get my insurance money to move out of the area. Yeah. I don't live there, thank God.
And I'll tell you what, big problem that these cities are going to have. When you talk about the wealth disparity, right, it is going to get worse and worse and worse.
Who's going to put up with this? No one's going to stay.
Nobody's leaving it. The shame of it is there was some manufacturing companies that were still in the inner city of Minneapolis there, where they burned down, and they're gone. They're gone. They're like, you know what, we're out.
Yeah, we're out.
The only reason we stayed here is because we were faithful to the people that needed jobs here. It wasn't the tax structure. It certainly wasn't the government helping us out, and they're good decisions. We were here because we've been here for decades. Right. But now that it's burned down, we're going to rebuild somewhere else that's more welcoming to us. Bye, right? That's not going to hurt the rich people. The rich people that own the manufacturing company, they're gone.
Well, it's like a lot of the folks in Buffalo, right? They keep their business here because they really care about their employees, like most business owners do, right? They really care about the people they're working with and the people that are their employees. Unlike what the liberal narrative is that all business owners are evil. We're just working our employees to the bones, not giving them breaks and making them work through lunch, long hours, and no air conditioning. It's not. Most employers
locked in a box.
Just about every employer I know, their employees become their family, right? Mm-hmm. So they keep their business there because they don't want to hurt their family, right? But once you burn their business down, they have to make a hard decision. But this going back to Chaz, this is hilarious, and so they take over this 6 block. Well, not hilarious, hilarious watching it from the outside, not if you're there. But these folks, first of all, they had all of their food and supplies stolen by the homeless.
Yep.
Right, because of course you have a rampant drug and homeless problem.
Sure.
In Seattle, right?
Yeah.
So all of the homeless and the drug addicts and the people that have mental illnesses basically stole all of these kids' supplies, right?
Yep.
So now they put a sign up that they're basically asking for donations, right? They need clothes, male pants, and male T-shirts. No kidding, right? Ice, the good kind. I love
What
that.
does that mean? Ice, the good kind. Is it bad
Cigarettes
ice?
and lighters.
Well,
Yeah.
my daughter Olivia says that Chick-fil-A ice is the best.
Yes, it's the better. Yeah, the colder the ice is, the better it is. Like,
Okay.
it's got,
I didn't know there was. I didn't know there was good and bad
oh,
ice.
there's good ice.
Never.
Absolutely.
Never. Cigarettes and lighters.
Yeah, Gatorade and what is that? Electrolyte powder. They're getting dehydrated. They help them out, folks. Tents, track phone with minutes cut. No one's donating this. Body lotion? Come on, are you
You're
serious?
not using that.
Body
Now you've gone
wash?
too
You're
far.
definitely not using that.
No,
right?
body wash.
I mean, give me a break. So basically, Dan Crenshaw, who is a
laundry
fantastic
bag. So they're sending their laundry home to mom.
yeah.
That's hilarious. Laundry bag, so I
man.
can send it back to mom and
What a
dad so
joke.
they can wash my laundry. These people are dirtbag losers.
So Dan Crenshaw, U.S. House Representative in Texas, writes a tweet. It's hilarious. He goes, I just want to remind all that when you create an autonomous zone, you don't get to demand a long list of supplies from the orderly capitalist society that you're rebelling against. Kind of defeats the meaning of autonomous, right? If you're going to have an autonomous zone, you need to be autonomous, guys.
That's right.
Did you think
Come up
about
with your
that?
own clothes, your own good ice.
Come up with your own. Yeah, one of you should start a restaurant. One of you should start a laundromat. One of you start a business.
That's right.
Somebody needs to go down there with a microphone and a camera and ask these kids, "Do you have a job?" The next rally in Buffalo, I'm going downtown.
Oh, for sure.
I'm going to ask
You
these
gotta interview
kids,
them.
"What do you do for a living? Do
Yeah.
you work at home? Do you work with your mom? What do you do?
What gives you the
what do you do?"
ability to just do this,
Oh,
right? To leave and not
Unreal.
have an income.
So that was great. The Twitter sphere is just.
By the way, I was
full of
torn by
wonderful
this because originally I said, let's go in and get them. Let's take federal resources and go in and clean that out. And then I thought, you know what? The mayor of Seattle deserves this, right? She's asking for it. The problem is,
She loves it.
that the conservative people around there, right? And I look at where we are, headquarters in the city of Buffalo. We travel back and forth to Jupiter. The city of Buffalo is very liberal, right? But the suburbs are very conservative. The suburbs don't deserve the kind of crap that comes out of that stupidity, right?
Yep.
The suburbs, Western New York State does not deserve the bullshit that comes out of New York City, right? It doesn't, right? But unfortunately, if they start burning buildings in Buffalo, it's going to hurt our property values out in the suburbs, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, who's going to pay for it? Not these dirtbags. These dirtbags aren't going to pay for it.
They don't own property. They
it's
don't pay
all-
taxes.
All the
They don't have a
conservatives.
job.
And I'll use Buffalo as an example because if you live in the suburbs, you are funding the city. I have many people go, well, the taxes are better in the city. No shit. It's
Right,
because you
right,
take my money in
right,
Erie County
right,
and you redistribute it into the city.
Because I'm
right?
paying 4% in Alden. That's why, right?
So
I mean,
guess
it's
what?
ridiculous.
That's what's going to happen when you burn down city blocks.
Right.
It's going to come back to the suburbs to pay for. So I am all for, and President Trump, I think it was yesterday, said enough is enough. If they can't do the job, I'll do it for you. God bless
Well,
you.
the only good thing is about it is, to let it continue, which is really bad for the residents, of course, right? But it definitely draws a clear line between what President Trump represents and what the Democrat Party under Joe Biden represents.
Yep.
And this lady in this video that we'll play in a second absolutely nails it, right? It's the misinformation out there that these folks are rallying around is lunacy, right? Somewhere between 9 to 15, and the numbers will vary. I've heard 9, I've heard 15. Either way, based on the tens of thousands of police interactions, it's a minuscule number. It's statistically, I hate to say insignificant because you're going to say, oh my God, every life matters. Every life matters, don't get me wrong. But statistically, it's like 0.00000001. Right? 9 to 15 unarmed black folks were killed last year by police. Roughly the same as white folks that were killed by police. Do we have a couple bad police officers? Yeah. The big problem is unions, to be honest with you, because they're the ones protecting the bad officers, right? They're the ones that are, you watch Derek Chauvin. Everybody in America agrees he's a bad officer.
Yeah.
Everybody. Why was he training other people? 17 marks and a license. Why is he still there? One word. Union.
But to your point,
He's not
it's
there
a
without
very, very small statistic, right?
It's tiny, minuscule.
And I'll
Tiny.
talk specifically about the black community, right? And this is about making the inner city black community better, I guess, right? And they're worried about the police holding them down. But better chance,
No one's holding them down
I
but
would like to
themselves.
see if they were rallying against the inner city school systems, right? That would make more sense to me, right? Because statistically, if you are an inner city black child, you have a high probability of not graduating from high school. Right. There's something like a 75% chance in some of our inner city school districts right in Buffalo, New York, that you don't come out with a high school education, which means you don't get a job, which means you probably 1 in 4 of them end up in federal prison. Right. Statistics, though. 75%. That's something to get pissed off about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Not the 2% of police officers. And I'm not saying you don't get mad about George Floyd, and I'm not saying we don't need some reform here. I've heard the pleas from some of the black families that say, we have conversations about if you get pulled over and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's got to change, and I totally understand that. But if I'm a black family, I am way more pissed off that I have to send my child to some school where there's a 75% chance that they don't make it out, where there's a 70% chance that they might end up in freaking federal, sorry, a 25% chance, 25% chance they might end up in federal prison. That's something I'd be railing against. I'd be pissed off about that.
And yet they fight to keep the same system.
Right.
They don't fight to fix it. They don't fight to change it.
That system's just fine.
They fight against people that want to change it for the better, like Carl Palladino.
That's right.
Carl Palladino doesn't have any kids in the Buffalo school system, right? He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. Why did he go to the school board? Because he cares about the community. That's why. Because he cares about those kids. He lives and works in that community. He's drawing his employees from that labor pool, right? It's in his best interest and all of our best interest to have a functioning, positive school system. We don't have that in Buffalo right now. We haven't had that for a long time. But when he stepped in to try to fix it, he got lambasted. He was called a racist. So I guess if you step in to try to help the black community and you're not black, you're racist. That's right. Is that right? But here's the thing. Did you hear Michelle Obama's inauguration speech, by the way?
No.
How disgusting was this? Oh, my God. We got to find this and play this if we can. If not, we'll play it next week. She gives a graduation speech. She's telling these kids, you can't get ahead. It's not your fault. It's somebody else that's holding you down.
Sounds a lot like what her husband said.
Oh, my God.
He spent 4 years.
Could you imagine telling your children?
No.
I don't care what color they are. Yeah. Son, I'm sorry, but based on the color of your skin, you have your destiny is not going to be based on your efforts. You can't control your future. Are you insane?
Yeah.
The speech should be, you can do anything with your life.
My husband was a damn president.
Right, exactly.
Black.
Look, I don't care, what political party you're in or whatnot. When you start to talk about systematic racism, which is the party that is the one that's fomenting that? Yeah. It's not the Republicans or conservatives, but when you look at actual facts, and I've got a piece up here from Breitbart, when you look at any other group, right? They say that American Jews, Nigerians, Indians from India, Asians are all more successful on average in America than whites are. Yeah. They have higher net worths, more income, and more success. They also have less imprisonment rates than whites as well. Is that racist? Are Asians racist against whites? Because they must be, right? By that same logic, and that's how they look at, and that's what they call disparate impact, right? Yeah. If whites are not getting admitted, to colleges at the same rate as Asians are, let's say, because maybe Asians work harder, then suddenly that becomes in the world. If you change those places out and you say whites and blacks, then suddenly that's racist because the outcomes are different. Well, the outcomes are different because the effort putting into it is different. It has nothing to do with the So this is the problem that we have now. We have changed the narrative to, you can't get ahead in America if you're black, like driving while black or white privilege. My family was poor growing up, right? Yeah. My grandmother raised my father and my uncle and died in the same 2-bedroom apartment that she started off and got married in, right? They didn't live in a mansion, right? My grandmother on my mom's side of the family, they came here from Italy in the 19-teens, right? In the early part of the last century. They came with nothing. Nothing, right? I mean, they all lived in one giant house over on Allenhurst and Amherst, right? I mean, it was like the whole family lived in that house.
Hard work got them out of that.
Hard work, white privilege. What are you talking about? When my family came here as Italians, you want to talk about discrimination?
Yes, that's right.
If you were Italian or Irish in the 19-teens, you want to talk about discrimination? You have no idea.
That's right.
I mean, oh my God! Look, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I mean, but you're going back and you're saying now, 250, 400 years of systematic Okay, look, that's not the history that I understand.
No.
My understanding of history of this country is we fought to end slavery in the Western Hemisphere.
And we won.
We won. Let me tell you this. There is still slavery going on in the Eastern Hemisphere. Check Libya, by the way. Thank you, Hillary Clinton. There is an active slave trade going on right now where Muslim North Africans are selling black Africans that are trying to get out and migrate to Europe into slavery. That's actively going on right now, today, in the Eastern Hemisphere in places like Libya, okay? So if you want to cry racism, you want to cry, go fix that. But when you look at our country, what I remember is my family fought in the Civil War for the North, right? We fought to free the slaves. We fought to look, was there bad things going? Of course there was. It was tragic, right?
There's always going to be bad
tragic.
people. But contradict that now with all these cities run by black mayors, right? Black-controlled school boards. We had a black
police chief.
A black police chief.
Whose falls at Minneapolis?
Right. They run the.
They run everything.
Yes. Yeah.
You got what is it? Keith Ellison's the Attorney General.
Let me say this though. There's two things that I'm seeing coming out of this that are just really, really positive to me. Number one is the suburban folks are getting guns, right, at record levels, right. Number two, you're starting to see a lot of black conservative people step up, right, and say enough is enough. You're not speaking for me, you white inner city young man.
Right. Exactly.
I'm done with your bullshit.
Right.
And let's play that video because I really think that's
classic.
important. And of course, here's what we're not seeing. The mainstream media is not going to show you any of this, right?
Look at
Not
that.
one bit of this, right? They're not going to play this young lady's video. They're not going to play this. Why? Because it doesn't fit it, right? They're still trying to scare you with COVID, by the way. I was watching the other morning. It was Good Morning America. I talked about this Saturday. The reporter must have been 30 feet away from the cameraman wearing a mask. What the hell are you doing? You're going to spit 30 feet to get the cameraman? Take your mask off. I can't hear you. And I continue to say, you're scaring the damn children. Stop it. Stop it. If you felt like you needed to do that and the cameraman was right on top of you, but you're only doing that to continue the scare. We'll talk more about COVID too, but it's amazing to me. I was watching that same Good Morning America and they said, oh my gosh, the hot spots that are popping up all over the place. Holy cow. And especially Florida. So I did just a little bit of research, right? The first thing that popped up, Glenn, Miami Herald and Miami-Dade, COVID hospitalizations fall. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, I know Florida pretty well. Miami-Dade is a pretty populated, pretty populated place, right? Lots of restaurants, South Beach, right? I mean, lots of people here, right? The only other place that's probably more congested would be Orlando, but that's shut down right now because Mickey Mouse is not open, right? So I would think if any place in Florida was going to freaking explode, it would be Miami-Dade. Now, here's the funny thing. Hospitalization rates down, number of cases surged. Now, anybody with a freaking brain in their head...
What's a surge?
Anybody with a brain in their head knows exactly, and you're already baiting me for it, right? That means that people are getting tested. They either have the antibodies or they have it in them, but they don't feel anything, right? Which means one thing, folks. It's way less deadly than we were told. Well, we figured that out months ago, right? Way less deadly than we told. And if the media had any kind of a backbone, what they'd be saying is, here's a cool thing, right? Hospitalizations are way down in Miami-Dade County, and more people tested positive. This thing is not as deadly. I'm not saying you don't do your social distancing or wear your mask if you need to, but it's not going to kill you like we were told, right? It's not going to, 7%.
Well, when you talk about spiking, there's not mass deaths going on. There's not even hospitalizations increasing,
No,
right?
here's the new thing. Here's the new thing. They don't say numbers, they say percentages.
Oh,
right?
I see.
Because here's why. If you say 100%, holy cow. If you say 50%, but if you say 30 cases, that's nothing.
That's
right?
not no big deal.
So you got to do percentages.
So I don't know if you heard Kathy Hochul's. We'll try to play this maybe later in the podcast. But Kathy Hochul, the deputy mayor or whatever, deputy governor or whatever you call him.
Yeah.
What's her
Lieutenant governor?
Lieutenant governor. Thank you very much. Lieutenant governor of the state of New York, right? So under Cuomo, she's in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
And she's talking about the fact that she's so proud that we are now phase 3. We're just entering phase 3 today. Today's Tuesday, June 16th. We're just opening phase 3.
You need to wear a hazmat suit if you're going to cut somebody's hair.
She goes, this is the other states. We were patient. You put your hard work in, just like all the 21 other states that didn't follow the recommendations, they're all seeing huge spikes. They're not, Kathy.
Well, don't forget,
total
Andrew
BS
lied to us a week or two ago.
Total
and said
lie.
They all had to shut down.
No,
remember?
not
They all
true at all.
opened up, and he said they all shut down.
Totally
And
untrue.
I forget who called him out on it. But which state?
You did.
Which state? Yeah.
You did.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, but I think McKinley did. Dave McKinley, locally here. Yeah. I borrowed it from him because Dave. I saw it on Dave's Facebook, and Dave's like, exactly what states opened up.
Yeah. Which ones had to reclose? Just name one. Just one. Just name one.
Right.
Let's play this. This is, you go back to your positive, Mike. This is probably one of the biggest positives out of this whole thing. President Trump has roughly 20 to 30% support amongst the black community.
Yeah.
The Democrats know that they cannot win without cheating.
They hate it, and they do not want this to be known
cheating.
to anybody, right? CNN
They're already setting up.
Show you this.
They're already setting up, saying they asked Biden the other day, "What happens if Trump wins?" Well, we're going to have to escort him with security out of the White House. I mean, there's a potential for literally if Trump. Look, it doesn't matter. And Bellavia said this yesterday. He was spot on. The media's fault, or maybe it was Rush Limbaugh, but they were both spot on. The media has basically fanned the flames of voter distrust. If Biden wins, the Republicans, me included, are going to believe that he cheated his ass off, right? Because you're already seeing ballots, these mail-in ballots show up in Maryland that were South Carolina ballots, right?
Electric cars,
right? In electric cars, that Prius has got a pretty big trunk, right? So anyway, so he's talking about the fact that the Republicans aren't going to trust the results, but of course the Democrats are definitely not going to trust the results. No. If President Trump wins, the Democrats are already saying they have not gotten over the last election, and to them, 2016, the Russians stole that election for Trump. Despite not a shred of evidence,
that's gone.
Right?
That story's gone.
That's gone, right?
That's gone.
Well, they're going to bring it back.
We moved on to COVID.
They'll bring it back.
We moved on to COVID. Now we're on to the police department and why it's Trump's fault.
Well, now the new narrative of the Democrats is voter suppression, right? Yeah. We had 2 districts in Atlanta during the primary that people had to wait in long lines for. Yeah. I don't know the reason why. They got their votes in eventually. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is they're now going to use this to say President Trump is going to cheat by suppressing the vote and telling voters to stay home by things like voter ID. So they're not going to believe the election. So what happens when Trump wins? And likely he will. What happens at that point is because they asked Biden that question, and his answer was, well, we may have to get the military and move him by force. What are we talking about here? Yeah. You're talking about not respecting the results of an election and removing a duly. You already tried that, Dems. Yeah. You tried that with impeachment. You tried that with a Mueller investigation. You tried that with, over and over you tried. Yeah. Look, if he wins fair and square, if he wins, he wins. If you try to remove him, then you're going to go to civil war, I think, pretty much right out of the gate, right? Yeah. Which nobody wants to do that. Like, as I said, my family already fought in the Civil War in this country. I don't want to do it again, right? I don't want my kids to do it. I don't want my family to do it.
We all want to go back to work.
Right, I want to go back to our number lives. Yeah. But this is a huge positive, and this right here is exactly why President Trump will likely win, because people are waking up. This is a young, very, very intelligent, and knows her history very well, black woman lecturing a handful of white liberals, which, by the way, just don't get it.
By the way, I've seen more and more black women stepping up, not black men.
I've seen that too, but
black
seen
that too. But more and more black women stepping up and saying, "I'm done with your BS," and this is another one, right?
Before I play this, though, let me just give one more plug. Candace Owens.
Oh, she's spot on.
But she's so important. Oh. Let me tell you why she's so important. Because she's speaking to the young folks. Yep. Not just black young folks. Right. She's speaking to white young folks as well, like this liberal here.
Yeah. She's speaking to young Americans.
Let me give you a quick thing. Yes, young Americans.
Young Americans.
The outrage of these young kids, my daughter included, right? Yeah. So, 19, her friend, and, oh my God, outraged over the fact that, we have white privilege and all the stuff they're hearing.
I don't understand what that is.
That's ridiculous.
I can't figure that out.
It's ridiculous.
Like, I've got some black friends who are very successful, and I'm not sure they understand what it is.
No, it's ridiculous.
Because they went to college, they got an education, they have nice homes now, but that's because and a result of them getting a good education, and now they've got professional positions, and they've got nice houses and nice cars, and I think, geez, they got nicer stuff than I do. What's their privilege?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
What's my privilege?
Let me tell you something. I went to Michigan State, and I lived in Case Hall, which was the football dorm right across from the Duffy Doherty building, which was the trading center, kitty corner from the stadium, right? And I had a lot of friends that were on the football team. Most of them were black, right? Yeah. Some of them were white, really big farm white. You're talking about 6 foot wide, huge, linebackers for Michigan State, Big Ten team. But let me tell you something. These folks, black or white, if you were a football player at Michigan State, you were a god. You were treated. You want to talk about privilege?
Right.
Oh my God, you were
Right.
treated like gold, man.
Right.
You could walk on water. It didn't matter what you did. You were the protected class. 'Cause let me tell you. Anyway, that doesn't. But the thing is, so she's so important because she can articulate and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, I'm not following the same narrative.
Yeah.
Right. Why do we hold up a George Floyd as the saint of our black? He was a drug addict and a repeat criminal. I mean, now does he deserve to have a knee in his neck and die? No, of course not. I'm not saying that. No. But you're holding up the worst of your society, right?
Why don't you hold up
Ben Carson?
How about David Dorn?
David Dorn.
Ben
Carson.
That guy was
Herman
a
Cain.
class act.
Yeah.
David Dorn was a police officer,
Yes.
well respected in the community,
family man,
and he went back. He went back to train little kids. He would go into the schools and say, "If you want to be a police officer, let me hold your hand, man." That is, and you know what? Let's say I'm watching George Floyd's funeral. Thousands of people there. David Dorn, hundreds of people there.
Right. Sick,
hundreds of people.
Terrible,
this is a guy who was a pillar in the community, man. Just an awesome.
Yeah, versus a drug addict, repeat offender that was committing a crime. Let's remember. Here's the thing, and the thing is,
they're making him out to be like he was walking down the street.
Oh my God, he was just innocent.
They just grabbed him. And again, no way does he deserve to die like that. No way. But he's no saint.
So let me play this video, and then I want to talk about the latest thing in Atlanta. There's not going to be a police officer left, folks. I mean, if you're a police officer right now, God bless you.
Either that
for
or we're
staying
gonna have
on
to
the
pay him
force.
like $300,000 each a year. Right. By the way, we did that with CEOs, right? Remember liberals? They said those CEOs need to be accountable for everything. I'm sick and tired of this. They cook the books and all that stuff. So now we criminally charge CEOs to be responsible for the books. Guess what happens to all their salaries?
Yeah.
They go, if you mean to tell me I'm taking liability? My headquarters is in New Jersey, but you want me to take liability for somebody in
and I could go to jail for that?
California?
Yeah.
Guess what? I want $30 million a year.
That's right.
So what'll ultimately happen from this? We're never going to get rid of police officers, and if we do, we're going to get rid of police officers in their cities.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It'll be police officers that we get rid of in the city of Buffalo.
Right.
But I assure you, the suburbs will be just fine.
Well, here's the thing. I don't have a police force in Alden.
Yeah, we don't need one.
We don't need one. Right?
We don't have a police force.
I got the state police. We got the sheriff.
Yeah,
Alden's a very
everybody on
peaceful
the
town.
street's got a gun.
That's right.
Or if not multiple guns. Right.
Pretty much. I mean, is there petty crime out there? Yeah, we got cars broken into every now and again and
Yeah.
whatnot. But you're at your own risk.
Yeah, you're not coming down my street and taking my street. I assure you.
No, you're not even breaking a town line.
I assure you with that. You're not stepping on grass. You want to march up and down the street a few times? Okay.
Go ahead.
But it's not going to be the outcome that you got on Elmwood. I assure you that.
Let's play this video, and this is, I think, fantastic. And then let's talk about the Atlanta thing. So this basically, this is just great. Again, you got a typical white liberal here, right? Let me back this up. I'm sorry. You got these white liberals like, they're so woke, you know. They don't want to spend any time with themselves because they can't stand themselves. I can't stand you either. But this is just perfect.
I would be in the same position you're in, so I'm not even mad at you, baby.
I don't
feeling like
any news because it's all
fake news. This is the thing. I know people don't like Trump. I understand that. But let me tell you something. If I had to pick between him and Joe Biden, I'm not voting in Joe Biden. You want to see a bunch of black people go to jail by the next 4 years? Put Joe Biden in it. Watch what happens. You want to see black men get killed substantially? Like you've never seen before? Put Joe Biden.
Yeah. But black on black crime, absolutely. And there was another very bright black lady who was talking about if Black Lives Mattered, we'd be in Chicago pissed off about the blacks killing blacks, right? And she was dead on.
Mike, there was a 13-year-old kid, I think it was Pennsylvania, that was gunned down by 4 gang members, all black.
Disgusting.
Right? 13-year-old kid. Had a bright future. He was a young athlete. He had a real bright future, which is pretty much why they killed him, right? Because it's the only community that keeps each other down.
Yeah.
I've never seen such a thing. I mean, let's be honest here. When over the last 200 years, when the Irish came here, the Irish helped the Irish. You had to, right? The Italians helped the Italians. You had to, right? But I've never seen a group of people that will absolutely go after those that are successful among them, right? If you're a good student in a black school, you're likely to get killed by the gang, right? Because they're going to they kill each other. They're burning down their own businesses.
Right.
What's the matter with you?
And that goes back to the educational system that we're throwing them into at 5 years old.
I guess,
right?
yeah. But
I mean,
man,
talk about 5 years old. You're sending your child into a school system that there's a very high probability. You imagine you've got 2 daughters and a son. If you said, you know what, we're going to send Charlie into a school and there's a 25% chance he's going to go through it and end up in federal prison. You'd be like, no way.
No way. He's not
no
going
way.
there. So she says something very important here. I want to make this point because this is really important. And when we talk about the Republic of Trump's a racist, Carl Palladino's a racist. As I mentioned earlier, Carl Palladino took his own time and money to get on the school board to help those kids, right? Let's talk about what Joe Biden did in 1994. When it was time so you had 12 years of Republican leadership, you had 8 years of Reagan and 4 years of Bush. For those of you that are less than 30 that don't have any idea of history past the year 2000, okay, let me go back and give you a little history lesson. We had 12 years of Republican leadership. Things got a lot better in this country, right? We had millions of jobs. We won the Cold War, all these things. 1993, right, 1992, we had a recession during the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. You had George Bush Sr., who was a garbage leader, right? Said, read my lips, no new taxes. The first thing he does is raise taxes. He deserved to lose. Yeah. He would have won, however, re-election had it not been for Ross Perot, who entered the race during the Bill Clinton years. So Ross Perot enters the race and splits the Republican ticket. And so Bill Clinton comes in. Joe Biden is Bill Clinton's Biden was a senator at that time, right? Mm-hmm. So Biden actually authored the legislation. So the Democrats finally take power in Congress or in the presidency in 1992. Okay, the first thing they do is they want to lift up the black community, right? Because of course President Clinton's the first black president, all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So they want to lift up the black community. They want to somehow find a way to lower the violence and things like that inside these black communities. So did they go in and help to fix the schools? No. Did they go in and start a jobs and a training program to help these inner city kids? No. Did they start mentorship programs for these kids? Did they start economic opportunity zones for these black communities? They didn't do any of that. What they did, their plan was incarcerate more of them. That's what they did, folks. That's what Joe Biden, he authored the legislation that Bill Clinton signed. He was the senator in the Senate that signed off on this. He voted for this. So their plan was, for them to reduce violence in the inner city, their plan was mass incarceration of black folks in those communities. That's what their plan was. And that's what they did. Same. And so they lowered unemployment amongst the black community. Bill Clinton was hailed a hero. How they did it was they incarcerated huge amounts for stupid stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, you sold marijuana for the third time. Well, that's life in prison. Yeah. You know. Anyway,
it's a shame because the inner city schools is where you start to change that. Oh. And if they rallied as much for changing the schools like they're doing for these police officers, over 1 or 2% bad cops, right? 1 or 2%. You're talking about a school system that's a freaking total disaster. Yeah. The percentages are absolutely disgusting. We are burning down buildings over 1 or 2% of bad apples, but yet the inner city school systems that these people come through that don't give them a chance in hell to get out, they could care less about.
Interestingly, is that, guess why the schools are as bad as they are? Unions.
Run by Democrats and
they're running
unions.
And there's Crystal Peoples.
They don't care about anything but the pensions and the money down there. And the minute Carl Palladino stepped up in the city of Buffalo and said he wanted to make change, they could care less about that. Right. I mean, I couldn't imagine that. Why these parents are not out in the streets protesting my school choice. Right? I mean, how about charter schools, right? One of Carl's ideas was longer school days. Look at the dad's a sperm donor. He's not a dad. He's a dirtbag gone, right?
He's gone.
The mom is raising a single mom without any resources. Let's keep these kids let them stay there longer, right? They go home to a crack addict mom. They go home to a dad who's not there. Let them stay there from 7 in the morning till 9 at night. Let's end this cycle, right? Oh, you can't do that.
No, he's a racist.
Oh my God, we can't work 5 more minutes.
No.
We're almost at $30,000 per child in the city of Buffalo. Yep. I'll tell you what, give me and you that budget for $30,000 a child, we'd have double shifts. Those kids would be eating goddamn filet mignon, and they'd have the best lattes you could possibly buy. Mm-hmm. The teachers would get paid handsomely, right? We'd have multiple shifts, and we'd be setting up training centers so they could actually learn stuff outside of Spanish.
Yep, exactly. Let me play because she just hit so many points here in 2 minutes. It's amazing. So she just talks about the incarceration rate, so that she nails that, and then she moves on. This is great.
And watch what happens. These Democrats, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not trying to be racist, but they hate black people. These are the same people who fought to keep slavery in. These are the same people who built the KKK. These are the same people who hated us from the beginning. The Republican Party is the party of the blacks. Blacks free. The Republican Party is the only party that the black people actually.
Which, by the way, was why Martin Luther King Jr. was a Republican.
Yeah.
to make note of
I
that.
continue to go back. We got to find some clips from Martin Luther King because the clips I hear
He was a
from him,
Democrat.
He
didn't vote for Lyndon Johnson.
He
as
was
far as I
sent
know.
from a higher power, man.
Yeah,
he was
was.
really,
Well, there are
really a
people like
special
that.
guy.
There
I
are-
mean,
yeah,
Can you
the-
imagine? Can you imagine somebody spitting at you and you having? I don't even know what you'd say, but the coolness to be able to step back and go, you know what? I'm going to beat you through education.
Yes, I know.
I'm going to
Amazing.
be smarter than you. I
Amazing.
couldn't imagine that because I'd want to punch somebody in the
I know.
face, right? Not Martin Luther King.
He was
said,
so
look, we're
smart.
going to beat these people through education. And oh my God, had they listened to him, had people listened to him, I don't care what
did for
color
a
your
while.
skin is.
They did for a
I don't
while.
care what color your skin is, man. Listen to that. You want to beat people, you beat them through education. And that might mean you're not going to be a doctor. It might mean you're the best damn electrician in the area and you've got 50 people working underneath you. But you've got to beat them through education and your work ethic, not through
Absolutely.
throwing fire bricks through a
Through
window.
windows. Yeah, not burning down your own community.
Yes.
Consistent and finding. But all of that history has been torn away. People say, "Oh, there was this big switch." There was never a big switch. The Union won because we had grown in the industrial era. So we were able to get trains and get supplies back to our soldiers while the Confederate was still riding horses. They were not able to get the supplies back fast enough, right? So what happened was once slavery was abolished in the South, the people in the South could no longer make their money from slaves. They had to move to the North to work in the industry to produce. And so the people in the North that already had established themselves in the industry moved to the South. And so that's where it was a transfer of people coming from the South to the North and people coming from the North to the South. There was never a big switch. So the same Democrats who hated black people from the beginning are the same ones who hate us now. And they use our cause. How did Black Lives Matter turn into something about LGBTQ? When blacks really don't support that. We're conservative. We're really not about that. Not only that, we don't support abortion. We're about working. This is the black culture. We ain't ever been about that. Not only that, we're not about feminism.
No, we're not.
Black women marry their husbands and respect their husbands. That's what we on. We're not on this, oh, I do what I want. We don't do that. That's not our community, and you would understand. I know you understand what I'm saying. Come on. We don't do that. But yet these people are hijacking our movement, and the Democratic Party, they're trying to hijack our stuff.
We got to track her down. We have to find her. She is awesome. I didn't see the whole video.
She is awesome. She really is. Yeah, I don't know how to
Smashes
find
him
her,
right in the
but-
face. And
she's so right. She's so educated,
The one
so
guy in the
right.
back's like, I'm going to go home to my mom in my basement.
But I love this liberal in front. She's like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
I'm so smart. It reminds me, oh my God, I've had this conversation with people before. Why in the world would you vote for Hillary Clinton? She's a criminal.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, Hillary Clinton, I mean, she understands policy and she's been around, she's a policy
She supported her
and
husband who's a rapist.
She's been around
but
Washington
she
for so
supports
long.
women. Her husband was an accused rapist
This is
multiple
why I
times.
say, honest
he was
to
on a
God.
plane with Jeffrey Epstein 26 times,
Right.
flying to an
Nothing
island.
to see here.
That was, we knew that he was a pedophile, right?
This is why I say liberalism is a mental
A
disorder.
total mental disorder.
It's a mental disorder.
But people like this, by the way, give me hope that the country will be better off, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Nobody, I'll tell you, I don't say nobody. I could care less whether my neighbor's skin is dark, light. By the way, I have black relatives. I have a niece that's black. I have a cousin who married a black guy. My daughter is darker than his kid.
She is.
So I don't really give a crap what your skin color is. I don't care if you're tall or short. I want you to be a respectful part of this community, and I want you to go out and do something with your life and be great. And if you can do that, wonderful. I don't care. I really don't care. And I think most people in the world would say that, right? Just go out and do something with your life. Better yourself. Stop using, I'm too tall or I'm too short or my skin is too dark. Just go out and beat everybody. That's the message that should be out there.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we're going to hop on that too. I wanted to talk about Andrew Cuomo before we.
Yeah, we'll get to Cuomo. I wanted to play this because this is getting to be disgusting to me. I'm so sick and tired. I expect it from CNN. I expect it from MSNBC.
Yeah.
These are not peaceful protesters.
No,
okay, don't tell me again.
When you start spray painting
CNN,
buildings and smashing windows,
they
you're not peaceful.
smashed the CNN, your headquarters,
That's right.
geniuses.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
Look, peaceful. So Fox News this week. Oh, the peaceful protesters of Chaz. These are the peaceful protesters of Chaz right here.
Yeah. Yeah, they look real peaceful.
Yeah.
Loving people. It's time for the federal government with the full resources and the best Americans to go out and clear these people and send
Should
them back
they?
home to mom and dad.
Or should we just let this little social experiment continue?
I'm torn.
I feel bad for the people that live and have businesses there.
Yes,
right?
that's exactly right.
Yes, we want to go in and save those people.
Right.
However,
the mayor's a moron. The mayor's a total moron.
Look,
right?
if
the mayor
Americans are not going to vote for this, I'm telling you, Americans. Look, you might. I don't care what the poll numbers show.
Right.
Oh, the poll numbers show Biden's ahead by. Biden's not even going to be the candidate, guys.
He doesn't.
Biden's ahead by 9 points. No. Look, people are taking down their American flags and their MAGA signs because they're worried that their house is going to get firebombed. You can't blame them, right? Good for Antifa for intimidating people. Not going to intimidate me. I'm actually going to be putting up an American flag at my house again today. Come by. I'm an Alden. Come by.
It's a small group of people, right? And the media has latched onto them to make it look bigger than it really is, right? I'll tell you, Minneapolis was probably burned down by 20 people. 20 people, right? But they're burning down the liberal parts of the city, using the city of Buffalo as an example, right? Elmwood, which is a very nice place. I love going down there to have dinner and drinks and all that stuff, right? But that is a very liberal area. Well, that's the area that they smashed in the city of Buffalo, right? They didn't go out to Alden. They're not going out to Alden. No. The business owners out there aren't going to
talk about it. They're like, well, we're going to be heading to the suburbs soon.
Those same 10 to 20 people that smashed windows down Elmwood, they wouldn't dare go to Alden and do that. You know why? Because they'd be waiting for them. They'd be ready for them, right?
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen, right? But is Elmwood going to continue to vote Democrat? You betcha. You betcha. They're going to continue to vote Democrat. The rest of the country, as you're saying, is going to figure that out for sure.
So the mainstream media continues to the mainstream media used to be left-leaning. I would say at this point they are full out propaganda.
Yes.
This is a classic example of it right here. We'll just play one more video and that'll be it.
In fact, that fundamental divide is as wide now as it was the year Dr. King was shot. So much for Trump's economy being the best ever for black people. Not relatively. And relativity matters.
So the subtitle of this is, the data is clear. Systematic racism exists in the U.S. This chart, genius, is from 2016. Oh, the wealth gap is wide. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because Obama did a lousy job. Look at California. Liberal policies over and over again lead to a widening of the gap. It makes poorer people poorer and wealthier people more wealthy. California has the widest gap in the country, not run by Republicans. So this clown, Chris Cuomo, brother of Andrew Genius Cuomo, right? This is the relativity matters. He's so smug about it too. That's the best part. Oh, the gap was wider. It didn't get shit. Actually from 2016 when Trump was elected till now,
it did get better.
It did narrow. It did narrow. So free market capitalism actually works. So how disingenuous is this, though?
Part of the reason is because Trump set up these opportunity zones inside the inner city to give people tax breaks to set up shop.
But is this just incompetence?
Oh,
is this propaganda?
No, that's propaganda for sure.
Right? I mean, are you that incompetent?
He's a total
seriously?
Dirtbag. That's disgusting. Right?
Wow.
Just beyond disgusting.
You're going to use a chart from 2016 and then blame Trump and say that the gap is not getting.
And then say you actually give a shit about the black community, which you don't.
No.
All they give a damn about is keeping in power.
That's right.
And they'll use the black community or use whatever community they have to try to retain power. Let's on with this. Cuomo warns businesses violating executive orders that he's going to be going after them. So if you're going to open up and not obey. And by the way, this COVID, man, this is so cool. It is so unbelievable that the new hotspots, I saw one of the new hotspots was Kid Rock's restaurant down in Nashville.
It's amazing.
Kid Rock, how dare he open up his restaurant? There was people there without masks. That was a hotspot. It's amazing. Out of all the bars in Nashville, why did they pick Kid Rock? Oh, yeah, because he's a freaking conservative. Right. Yeah, that's so his is a hotspot. Yet, apparently Seattle here, this is not a hotspot.
No problem.
Right? This is not a hotspot. Right? No. New York City with hundreds of thousands of people marching in the street is not a hotspot. Yet Nashville.
That's the Ozark were.
And Ozark,
The Ozarks,
not one case comes out of
Lake of the Ozarks.
Right? Not one case comes out of that. It's really amazing to me that this disease can pick and choose its spots, right?
Amazing.
Church, bad.
Yeah.
That church is bad.
Yeah.
It's going to
Walmart's
explode
okay,
in
though.
churches, right?
Walmart's good.
A nail salon, going to explode. If you want to open up your restaurant, you're going to kill grandma and grandpa and probably half your damn family. But if you want to smash in a window and protest and steal some Nikes,
no problem.
No problem.
This is how ridiculous this is I went by a restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants in Alden. I'm going to go take a picture and we'll put this up on our website. I don't mean to shame them because they're a wonderful group of folks and I really love the restaurant, but it's not their fault.
No.
This is the lunacy
Well, they're scared
of these
they're gonna
policies.
lose their
Here's what they've done.
permits and all this
Here's
stuff.
what they've done along with a lot of other restaurants. They put up a pop tent in the parking
Yes.
lot,
Yeah.
right? It's got sides on it. So explain to me the difference between sitting inside the dining room
right.
or sitting outside together in an enclosed tent.
Yeah.
How is that any different?
No, it's
This
asinine.
is the
Asinine.
stupidest thing.
Beyond dumb.
So I guess apparently
Beyond
if you're together outside in a tent,
Yeah.
COVID can't go there.
No, it's already inside.
It's already inside.
Yeah, it's already
So you
inside.
can't go inside.
Yeah, yeah.
That
So-
would be.
Yeah, what they do, Glenn, is when COVID starts running out the door, they shut the door.
They should keep it shut.
Yeah, they shut
right.
the door. Yeah.
It's just amazing how that
Total
works.
morons. And by the way,
It's
look
the
at you business
stupidest thing.
owners, start getting a backbone,
Oh, my
please.
God.
The restaurants in Western New York, what I'm asking you to do is all get together and just open up as once. The gym owners, all get together. If you need to call me, 633-1515 here in Buffalo or 833-FIN, guys, I will organize it somewhere. We will you don't have to do it at your house. I will figure out a place to organize together. We will all open up at once. I am disgusted that you see Andrew Cuomo saying, you know what, I'm going to fine you if you're not following the rules, yet they could give two craps about people gathering together in hundreds of thousands to be able to protest. You are crushing the economy. Western New York will never come back, and I mean that never come back the way it was, and that's a shame.
No.
And until we get different leadership out of New York, it will never come back. And just like becoming a police officer, who would want to run for office in this state, right? It's just a hopeless, thankless job, right? But absolutely amazing. So now he says the Godfather Andrew Cuomo says it's okay to have 25 people at my house. You know what, Andrew? If I want 100 people in my house, screw you. I'm having 100.
I'll tell you
people
what,
in my
New
house.
York to allow 25 to gather in third phase of reopening.
Yeah.
I'm going to have 100 people out of my property in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, come out and visit.
Come
us.
out. We'll have a big party out there. We're going to have a big fire, big
Yeah.
barbecue. Come find me. Kiss
Yeah.
my ass. That's
Yeah.
what I have to say.
Yeah.
I want to find this Kathy Hochul thing because this is just priceless.
She
I'm
is
not sure if
this-
I can find it or not. It
it's-
might be. It might be
it's-
too new because it was this morning, but it's lunacy. I mean, she's out there going, "Wow, we're so much better than these other states, and look at us for holding off for so long." The other states are going to come back economically.
Oh,
New
by
York is
far.
going to be,
By
and,
far.
and she's going to be, still
far.
riding her high horse, going, "Look at how great we are! Look
You
at how
know what?
great we did."
During a recession,
My Lord.
wealthy people always end up better usually coming out of a recession. Why? Because they've always kept some cash on the sidelines. They take advantage of it. The same is true here. Yeah.
I don't know if I can find this or not. If not, we'll play it next week. But it's just really priceless because she's really,
Well, the same is true
Man.
with states, right? So you'll see the states that come out of this, like Florida, Texas, right? They will take advantage of this. Yes. Did their balance sheets contract during the COVID? Of course it did, right? But as things start to open up, more and more businesses will move to Florida, move to Texas, and they will open up and become bigger and better on the other side of it, right? We've been very blessed. When we go through recessions, we pick up more clients. We're on radio, we're on TV, right? So as we come out of that recession, our businesses have always been bigger and stronger, where others haven't survived.
Right.
The states with a brain in their head are going to, that's probably it right there. Oh, no.
no, that's not it. That's an old one.
Yeah, she's
I'll
a.
find
Yeah.
it. It was like literally they just did it this morning. It's probably not up.
Well,
on the
you knew
BN
that was going to be a
website yet,
disaster,
so-
right? Putting her in charge of the opening of the economy.
So she's so proud that all these other states are all 22 other states are seeing huge spikes in their numbers. No, Kathy. That's a total lie.
That's a total lie.
Are some states seeing an uptick? Yeah, some states seeing an uptick.
Yep.
To be expected, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this. We're going to reopen the economy. Everyone's been inside for 2 months. Our immune systems are weakened. We're going to go out, and then we're going to get an uptick. The most important thing is hospitalization rates.
That's
and I
right.
can't stress that enough.
Yes.
What this virus has done with every reiteration, so it mutates. Viruses mutate.
Starting
That's
to
what
get
they
weaker
do.
and weaker.
Weaker and weaker, which is
Yeah.
a typical pattern of viruses.
And now in Italy, by
weaker
the
and
way,
weaker and weaker and weaker.
It's almost gone, right? In Italy, it's almost gone. They got hit hard, but it's almost gone because, as you said, that virus continues to get weaker and weaker and weaker.
They're already setting this up. You sent me the article. This may be around for 5 years.
Yeah, four and a half.
Four and a half. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Look at that,
who
right?
says it'll be 4.5 years? What's
Who did
after
say that, actually? Was it Dr. Fauci who said it, or who?
No,
Or was it
who?
World Health
It was
Organization?
who? Yeah.
Why is the World Health Organization even...
Yeah.
Why are we reporting what they're saying anymore?
Oh, even Fauci.
CNBC,
Stop
please
listening.
stop.
These
Stop.
people are the same people that predicted the global warming garbage. They are so wrong. It's not even funny. Just stop. stop. Just stop. They haven't been close on anything.
The President Trump is absolutely right. We're defunding the World Health Organization because they have become politicized and they're corrupt
and
they don't know what they're talking about.
Useless.
They're useless.
Well, think about this. We were told going into COVID that we might need 80 million hospital beds.
Yeah.
That's what we were told.
Right.
80 million hospital beds. Right. We are not even close to this. You know, 3,000 people died of pneumonia last year in the state of Florida. 3,000 people. Had they tracked pneumonia last year like they did this COVID, it would have been the same thing, right?
Well,
same
this will be around if they're planning on President Trump winning and just basically hampering the next.
Stop.
Okay, think about this for a second.
We got to get more conservatives.
They hate him so bad.
They do. We
crazy.
have to get more conservatives though that start getting a backbone. And I'm telling you this,
Republicans
right? If you want to wear a
Congress.
mask because you feel it's good for your immune system, that is your choice, and God bless you. But if you're wearing a mask because Andrew Cuomo is telling you to wear a mask, I would encourage you to take it off. It's time to go back to living the way we need to live. We need to get to herd immunity with this. My parents were out to dinner the other night. It was funny. 4 people, 2 couples showed up to dinner, right? They were eating outside. My parents don't wear a mask. They're like, no, we won't do that.
Well, you're at dinner. How do you wear a mask?
Well, this is great. So these 4 people,
Get a little zipper.
these Einsteins, right, show up. Einsteins show up with masks on, and they keep the masks on, right? They're all hanging out, talking through the masks, right? And then the drinks come, and they all take their masks off. So apparently COVID would have transferred between the 4 of them prior to getting their drinks. But as soon as you get a little alcohol in front of you, then the COVID goes away.
Right.
Just don't show up with the mask. You look like a goddamn moron, and you're not doing anything. You're scaring the children.
You're scaring the children.
You're scaring the children.
You want to text that to me or email it to me?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm sick and tired of hearing people tell me, well, I'm wearing it because I'm afraid of my child. Why? There's a 0% chance they die.
Right.
A 0% chance they die. Nobody wants their kid to, oh, I want my kid to get COVID. Although I'll tell you what, when parents were parents a long time ago, my mom said, go down and play with Tim because you need to get chicken pox. Right. Go get it over with, right? And I'll tell you, I've had a lot of healthcare professionals tell me that they want their children to get COVID-19. Why? Because there's a 0% chance of them dying, and then they would be immune to it, right? They'd build up their system. Their immune system would get better, right? They won't die of it 25 years from now when their immune system is weaker, right? Seems smart to me, right? These kids should have never been taken out of school, never, ever, ever, ever quarantined healthy. And that's exactly why this whole thing is taking longer, and we will have wasted trillions of dollars of people's money along the way.
This might be it here, I think, if I can skip this ad.
All right, we'll end with this.
A month ago or 6 weeks ago, this was not a guarantee. So Western New Yorkers made this happen with their willingness to listen to us about wearing masks, the social distancing, et cetera. So all that has to continue when you go into a restaurant or into a salon. So you can expect a different experience, but at least it's a major step toward getting back to some semblance of normal.
Well, yesterday you asked Western New Yorkers to spend some money that they've been saving over the last few months to keep our restaurants open and our community vibrant and alive. But how long is that actually going to be sustainable for restaurants? And when can we expect to see capacities increase? We just heard from one restaurant owner who said that
she has absolutely no clue how long these people can sustain themselves. No clue. If any of these Democrats had a brain in their head, they would have done exactly what Florida did. And actually, I even think Florida was a little bit late to the cause. But all these Republican governors were in a tough spot, right? If you open up too soon, you're going to kill grandma and grandpa, right? But they did exactly what you need to do, which is phase this in. Western New York could have phased this in
a month and a half ago.
Absolutely. She has no clue how to run a business, no clue what balance sheets are, no clue about inventory.
Think about this.
None of it.
We have, in Florida, has less deaths total than, I guess, less than half the deaths total than New York has just in nursing.
Yeah, but they don't have any old people down there.
Oh, no.
And they don't get any tourists. Oh, yeah, actually they do.
Yeah. And they didn't have everybody flying from New York City, the hotbed of the world, directly into Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale.
Think about that. Florida had, think about it, it's funny, how many people took off out of New York City, and went down in New Jersey, went down into, as you just said, into Florida, right? So that should have been an explosive hotbed. Why wasn't it? Because
their policies.
Yeah, because of their policies. They opened up, let people get outside, get your immune systems going, and let the flu run its course.
That's exactly. Well, here's the thing: they didn't force nursing homes to take COVID positive patients. They didn't deny nursing homes the ability to test those patients. In fact, Governor DeSantis did the opposite. he set up a what he called a medical strike force, like the A-team, right, the elite force. That as soon as somebody was COVID positive in a hospital, they sent in this really high quality, or whatever you want to call them, the elite force of medical community to go in, remove that patient, disinfect the entire facility, right? Make sure that they cleaned up the place, and as a result, we had a lot less deaths in nursing homes because of the way they handled it. New York did the opposite. New York said, in fact, Governor Cuomo said, and pointed the finger, like that's what Democrats do. Place the blame. If they were responsible, it was there. Yeah. They should have been the ones. They're required. The law says they're supposed to be able to handle this. Meanwhile, he's giving them no support, no PPE, none of this, everything else. Just pointing the finger, blaming the nursing homes. Well, and then, in the middle of the night, he gives the nursing home executives immunity from lawsuits in case they get sued. Well, look at that.
He did the other opposite thing, too, which is,
man.
as you said, the Lake of Ozark, right? All these people hanging around, and no cases could trace to that, right? But we do know that the highest percentage of people that got sick in New York State were people that listened to Andrew Cuomo.
Yep.
They quarantined themselves. Yep. They didn't go to anywhere. They didn't visit anybody. They stayed in their house. That was 70% of the cases.
But they took the subway.
Meanwhile, the governor, no, they didn't even do that. They stayed in the house. They said 7 out of 10 people, 7 out of 10 people they did exactly what you were supposed to do, right? By the way, the governor in Florida said, we don't want you to do that. We want you to get out, see the sun, get out and move around.
We know that's good.
We want, if you need to wear a mask, but you can social distance, but we need you to move and get out. Andrew Cuomo's policies, and by the way, we said this. I said the worst thing you could possibly do. We had Dr. Erickson on. He said the worst thing you could do is sit in your house next to those plastic bottles
that
have COVID on. He said we could test any house in this country and it's got COVID in it. The worst thing you could do is bring it in your house and sit next to it. The best thing you could do is go on with your life, move out and about. He was damn right, because the states like Florida actually did that, and they ended up way better off than we did.
Yep, and Florida, as you mentioned, was the absolute recipient of most of the people leaving New York City were going to Florida.
If COVID did what it was supposed to do, these protesters would have exploded it already, right? If COVID was as deadly as they told us.
Here's what they say. Well, it's not been long enough for the protests. We don't know yet.
It's been 4 weeks. So.
Come on. It's been
4 weeks. It's going on 4 weeks.
Lake of the Ozarks was 3 weeks ago, right? 3-4 weeks ago.
Apparently, Kids Rock's bar, we can tell right away that that's going to be a hot spot.
Right.
But if you get 300,000 people protesting together, if this was as deadly as they told us, the protesters would have overwhelmed New York City. Right. The hospital beds would have been overwhelmed in the last 2 weeks. Right. The fact that hundreds of thousands of protesters got together and the hospitalizations have actually gone down in New York City tells me that everything we were told was bullshit. And it tells me that business owners need to start getting a backbone and saying enough is enough. I'm opening my restaurant, and so is Billy down the street, and so is Savannah, and so is Samantha. And if you don't like it, go to hell.
They're going to do it in Tennessee is what they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Having a vulnerable population inside, and really are kind of getting a mixed message about what actually can happen.
Well, we're going to be very careful. The reason that we don't see the spike in cases as we've been going through phase 1, 2, and now 3 of reopening is that we've been smart about this. Other states just opened up full capacity. They didn't require masks. And you can see the numbers. Those cases, those states are seeing an increase in the number of positive cases for corona, and their hospitals are becoming overflowed.
Oh, is that right?
Not true.
Not true.
Totally fake.
That's a total lie.
Go backwards. That's the last thing we want to have happen here. So we've put out very clear guidance from the state of New York. Every business.
The state of Florida's got 2,500 people in hospitals right now. 90-something% of them are going to be absolutely just fine. They've got 20 million people. 20 million people.
But more importantly, though, it doesn't matter what the current rates are.
That comes out to 0.002%.
There has been no uptick in hospitalizations.
No.
You can hospitals in other states.
Miami-Dade County is actually going down.
The Jupiter Medical Center had one patient left. I asked Marcy yesterday, I said, talk to your friend that's a nurse over there and find out if there's more hospitalizations, if they're increasing or not. And I'll have that answer by next week. My guess is they're not, or else I would have heard about it.
Lying to you.
Total. So she's completely. So you got the Hochul saying, well, all these other states now they're seeing huge spikes in hospitalizations.
Not true.
Totally false.
Not true.
Totally untrue. Would you please, media, please? This is Channel 7. I'm giving you guys credit for having the interview, but do me a favor, would you please do your homework ahead of time? Look at the different states. Check the hospitalization rates. Check the infection rates. Check the death rates.
And actually
have your facts together. Have your facts together. Know the facts, right? And then then do the interview, okay? And so when Kathy Hochul says a flat-out lie, like hospitalizations are hospitals being overwhelmed in other states, which is totally untrue, you can say, Kathy, would you do me a favor, because our statistics, you don't have to be rude about it. You can say, Kathy, I did some research, and our statistics don't show that. Can you tell me which state specifically you're talking about? Oh, Florida. Oh, well, here, but Kathy, in Florida, it's right according to the Miami Herald, the hospitalization rates are actually down. Could you pick another state maybe that, like, come on, guys. You're the media. You're supposed to speak truth to power, right? She's power. Go get the truth, right? What you're doing, media, is you're doing an interview with no facts, and you're taking these folks at their face value, what they're saying as truth. It's not true. Your job as journalists is to get to the truth. Please just do a little bit of homework before you do an interview with somebody like Kathy Hochul or Andrew Cuomo. So when they come out and they lie right through their teeth and they say hospitals in other states are being overwhelmed, which is not true, you can say, Kathy, I've got the facts here, and unfortunately, I don't see what you're seeing. Can you please cite the source that you're referring to? Can you please tell me which states you're talking about? Can you tell me, are you referring to a Wall Street Journal article or USA Today or a New York Times piece? Where are you getting that data, Kathy? Because we're not seeing it. Did they ask that question? Nope. It was, move on here. In fact, this is what the next question was. She gets away with it.
That guidance, certify that they'll follow it to make sure they can guarantee for their employees and their customers that it's a safe environment. So based on the science and the data and the experts, if we follow these protocols, the environment will be safe. We want people to come out, but if you continue doing what we've been asking you to do, it will be a better experience.
You continue
so don't
to do
get
what we've been
casual.
asking
Don't
you to
think
do.
you
That's
leave your
right.
mask
Telling
at
us to
home,
do.
or else you won't be served in these restaurants. Again, this is temporary. This is a global pandemic. We will get through this, but we're going to get through it in a smart, safe way for our residents.
And so just to be clear, is there a timeline in place yet to increase those capacities?
Well, certainly phase 4 could be about 2 weeks from now, but again, we're going to watch the numbers. That's what I do every single day.
Yeah.
So phase 4 could result in a
big number. These are the same people, by the way, that were watching the numbers when there was 0 cases in the center of New York and they wouldn't let the restaurants open or the businesses open, right? 1 case. I think at one point, Cattaraugus County had like 2 cases. Every business is shut down and crushed.
It's ridiculous.
Crushed them. Now, they're 100% responsible for the crushing of the entertainment business or whatever sort of little bit we had here. It's sad. I'm driving around town looking at watching these restaurants not going to be able to open. Not going to be able to open.
I just, and of course she's like, well, if you go in a restaurant without a mask, you're not going to be served. Let me tell you something, Kathy. I went in a restaurant last night without a mask. I got served.
Yeah. How does that work, by the way? Like,
No. First of all, look, if I walk into your establishment, and let's say I'm going to takeout. I went to a place last night. I got takeout chicken wings, right? If I walk in and the sign said on the door, I have to have a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm walking in to give you a credit card and walking out my chicken wings, okay? I'm in there for 2 seconds, right? This is ridiculous, right? So, and of course, guy walks in, he's like, are we still wearing masks here? I'm like, I'm not. He goes, well, he pulls a T-shirt over his face. Well, that's going to be effective, right? I mean, come on. This is, I'm over it, right?
Right.
So anyway, so I walked in, I said to the guy, I'm like, listen, I legitimately forgot my mask. I'm like, I don't have my mask. He goes, that's no big deal.
Yeah.
Right? So if he had said to me, though, I can't serve you, then guess what? I guess you guys get 20 chicken wings that you'll have to figure out how to pay for and eat because I'm not giving you my credit card.
That's right. Yeah,
so,
no.
Okay, I'm just going to go back and I'll
a business has
whatever.
the right to do that. I have the right to not do that, and that's what we're going to end.
But the fact of the matter, and look, I'm beating up on Ed here on Channel 7, and he's doing the best job he can, right?
I don't think he is.
Well, look,
you're dead right. Well, you said it from day one.
How much time does he have?
Channel 7 was one of the stations that said they're going to get to the truth, right? They were going to change. They were going to be one of the change agents out there that were going to actually ask the tough questions. That is such BS. It's not even.
His poor guy probably doesn't have the time though. He's young, obviously, right? Yeah. So he doesn't. He's probably the same thing. He's got to run all day, get his interviews.
If you can get the interview with her, you've got to be prepared to ask questions.
That's right.
To her,
if you get the interview,
she's not coming on here. She's not coming on our radio
because we're going to ask those questions.
Yeah,
we're prepared.
Absolutely.
We're going to know the facts, and we're going to say, Kathy, I'm looking at a Miami Herald article.
Yeah.
That's what I'm referencing.
That's right.
That's referencing the state health department.
Right.
That's showing hospitalization rates are down based on these numbers. What source are you looking at, Kathy?
That's right. She's looking at her buddy Andrew's source.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, there's no source. And but yeah, they don't ask the questions. No, they know that they can go on any of these media outlets at no problems whatsoever and get away with this complete lie. So phase 4, we're in phase 3 now. Phase 4 might be 2 weeks from now, maybe not.
Yeah.
If we all behave, if we all wear our masks like we've been asked to.
If you all listen to the Democrats.
Give me a break.
It'll be good.
This is a joke.
Yeah,
anyway,
so by the way, if you're a restaurant or if you're in a business that is still in phase 3, we don't exactly know when you should order stuff for your inventory or bring your labor back or anything, or how much. But you know what? You'll figure it out, and it's just a temporary shutdown, so don't worry about it.
2 minutes.
We just
got
to make sure we don't overwhelm the system.
Right. 2 minutes on money, real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. Obviously, this past week we had a couple of 1,000-point swings, multi-thousand
Tons of volatility
point,
out there.
Crazy, right? So we're not quit out of the woods yet. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Just don't let your guard down, folks. I think we get this market rally, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
my stuff was way down, but now I'm okay. It's coming back.
Rebalance.
If your stuff was way down, if you were down 30+% in the first quarter, then you're probably not allocated properly, or you were way aggressive. Now, if you're way aggressive and you're comfortable with that, hey, cool. But if you were way aggressive, or if you thought you were more balanced and you were down 30%, something is wrong with your portfolio. Don't get complaints because, well, I was coming back now.
Yeah.
No.
The economy is messed, and there's going to be a ton of volatility for not weeks to come, probably years to come.
Unfortunately.
I mean, you're talking about, we're still at 13-point-something% unemployment rates,
right.
but, there's a lot of folks, and I keep using the restaurant industry as an example, that are not going to come out of this. They're just not.
They may try, but they're going to fail.
Yeah,
they may try, and they're going to reopen because they still got the PPE money, or the PPP.
Well, some people did. Some people didn't. A lot of folks didn't get the PPP money. I mean,
it's true.
Yeah. So you're a lot of folks are going. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to come back. The other problem they're going to have is how to order inventory and how to bring back labor properly.
Well,
right?
somebody did an interview this morning about that.
You're basically starting your place over again.
Right.
You and I were in that industry 20 years ago, and the hard it's once you get predictability, it gets a little bit easier. Okay, I know on Mondays we typically do $5,000 between 12 and 2, right? But when you open up and you don't know, that stuff can kill you.
Yeah,
it can kill you. You're throwing product out. You've got too many people on, or even worse, sometimes you've got not enough, and people get that bad experience and they go, "Oh, I'm not going back to the restaurant." They opened up and they wanted my business, and then they lost it, right? So it is really difficult. And morons like Kathy Hochul, they should have no idea. She has no idea.
No, they have no idea.
Not a clue.
So I had her interview this morning. I don't know what channel it was on. I guess it was BEN. I was driving in, and they said the exact same thing. They were interviewing a restaurateur, and he said, "Look, my bigger problem right now is getting my employees back. I can't find employees because they're getting paid more to stay home than they would coming to work. That's going to be a problem to the end of July. God forbid we extend unemployment and push these benefits further. We'll exacerbate this further." One last thing, and I talked to Paul Meeks yesterday. Paul is one of our chartered financial analysts on our investment committee at Independent Solutions. And by the way, he'll be speaking on Wednesday night during our investment committee update. But I was talking to him yesterday about what I was seeing. I'm like, look at my much less educated viewpoint than you, Paul. You're a chartered financial analyst, the smartest of the smart. And I said, what I'm seeing is demand come back, which is good, right? That means that we may actually have a better recovery than I think maybe the Fed is even expecting. He goes, yeah, you're seeing demand come back, but he goes, you have to look at what the measurement is GDP. Yeah. He goes, Glenn, we're looking at a decline in GDP like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
It could be 2 years before we recover the lost economics. So yeah, you might be seeing it on a micro level in restaurants, things like that. He goes, but industries, factories, right?
Sure.
He goes, when you have to look at the macro, what the Fed is looking at is GDP. Mm-hmm. And when we're looking at a potential 4 to 5% decline in GDP this year, if we're only growing at 2.5%, then that means it's going to take us 2 to 3 years to recover that GDP. And when you put it in those terms, I'm like, that's why you're the CFA, Paul, because you understand the
it's
big
unfortunate.
Stuff,
We've been saying this for a while, but tax rates are still way too damn high in this country. And if they wanted to stimulate economic growth and get money back in the coffers, you actually do it through a tax cut.
We got to figure out
a huge tax cut right now. You look at the Laffer curve, and we need to bring top rates down to 20-25% somewhere in there to really stimulate economic growth. It's still at 37, way too high.
I think we
way too high.
I think we would have been better with that rent too high guy as the governor.
No doubt.
Beaten Cuomo.
No doubt.
Than we are with
no
Cuomo.
doubt.
Remember that guy?
Well, now Democrats. Amazing to me. We've got Democrat lawyers suing the governor because of his extreme powers that he's taken on. And I'm thinking to myself, what did you think was going to happen?
Right.
But
you have to vote for him again.
I'll tell you, the shame of it is if New York State had somebody with a lot of money that was conservative, more conservative, but maybe a more moderate type of conservative. I actually think Andrew's beatable right now, but it's got to be somebody with tons of cash, right? I mean, I heard that there's some sheriffs stepping up.
You have to have a moderate Democrat beat him in the primary.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat him in this state in a general. You'd have to have a moderate Democrat. I
think there's a lot of Democrats that are now getting this, right? They're now getting, wait a minute, you're seeing businesses not open. My friend, I was a Democrat, but I like to have martinis down at the Blue Lantern in Elma, and that's now out of business, right? Or not opening. So that type of stuff, I think, is going to hit really big time at some point.
Yeah, well, when it comes to your money, stay diligent, folks. Make sure you're allocated, rebalance and diversify. I know we sound like a broken record, but just don't get complacent. This is going to be a tough market for quite some time. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad market. It just might be a little bit tougher and maybe a little bit more selective when it comes to selecting securities and things like that.
Exactly
You got to
right.
pick the winners, exactly. Yep. So if you need us, again, go to our website, thefinancialguys.com. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, click the thumbs up button, I guess, below if you're watching YouTube, or give us a like on. Can you give us a like on? Can you like the podcast? Well, anyway,
on YouTube.
Well, YouTube you can.
YouTube,
you can get the thumbs up. But anyway, appreciate it. And if you want to know when these things come out, normally the podcast is released on Tuesday, the audio version on Spotify and all these different places, and the video version, if you're listening on Tuesday, tomorrow on Wednesday, the video version on YouTube comes out. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Financial Guys, and watch most of the weeks. We have a video that comes out to go along with, and of course, you'll see the video clips, not just the audio part of what we played today on the show. So thanks again.
By the way, look for us to add to the team. We're talking to Russ
Yes.
Thompson and Carl Palladino about doing a podcast and, sort of commingling some stuff with us, which would be a lot of
we're
fun.
going to grow our podcast network and maybe start even doing more of these. Maybe we'll start doing twice a week if we get the time. So don't forget to tune in on Saturday. This coming Saturday, Mike Hayflick is in with Mike Spraza.
And
Perfect.
a few other guests today.
So Social Security claiming strategist Mike Hayflick in with our home and auto expert Mike Spraza. Don't miss that show, WBEN, WHAM, and WFTL. Thank you again for listening. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next week on the Financial Guys podcast.